fabulous Friday. This Friday. I am
Yes.
Will Sutton. I am happy that the Lord woke me up and blessed me with yet another day to this week. Made it through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and here we are, Friday. I'm Will Sutton, and with me is Eddie Francis.
Good morning. How's it
Thank you.
going?
Fabulous. Thank you for coming back.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me back.
I am glad to have you here. And how's the drive in?
It was all right,
What's it
sister.
looking like out there?
Well, sister in White Malibu, she wasn't behaving. But,
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, actually, a lot of people. It was a dude on a motorcycle, all that other good stuff. You know what? I actually figured something out. So I really, really get annoyed with tailgaters. I mean, very annoyed. And I finally figured out why. I blocked this out because I got rear-ended really badly when I was living in Dallas. Yeah. And I figured it's somewhat of a trauma response. And so I get very annoyed with tailgaters. Very, very. But yeah, I mean, the drive-in was fine otherwise.
Yeah.
Just, thank you for the check is in the mail for the therapy session. Appreciate you, Will.
Well, I can relate to that. Some time ago when I was living in North Carolina, in not in interstate travel, but neighborhood street, downtown Raleigh Street. I was T-boned.
Oh wow. Oof.
And that really shook me.
Yeah.
And it took years where I would just, if there was yellow, it was like, oh, no, I'm not, nope, you're going to have to wait. I'm going to wait, before I could even feel like it was going to be comfortable to get out there without some knucklehead coming across and striking me in the middle of the vehicle.
Yeah.
That took quite a bit of physical therapy to get over it as well.
Yeah.
The
That's no
damage to
fun.
the body, all of that. So I hear you on the tailgating because as much as we want to pay attention to how we are driving, and let's just go ahead and admit sometimes we're not 100% on our driving, but we seem to do better than a lot of other people who just take it as a casual bumper car ride through the neighborhood.
Exactly. Exactly.
Looking every which way. Seatbelt sort of on. Flinging things this way or that way, trying to take pictures.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you got here safely.
I am too, and I hope everybody else did. I really, really hope.
I don't know. We, there's a lot going on, and learning some more. We've heard this name Flock before. Apparently, that was one of the reasons that the guy that wanted to do some harm to us got caught because of flock cameras. We might need to put a flock camera out there near you. Check on this sister to make sure we monitor her whereabouts.
Yes.
Ma'am,
whoever you are, please relax. Please calm down. Let everybody else get to work safely.
Indeed. It is 7:02 a.m. and welcome to the Good Morning Show. I'm Will Sutton in conversation with Eddie Francis, and there's a lot going on. Man, what a week.
Yeah.
What a day, night. Oh my goodness, there's just so much going on, and unfortunately, in a single week, we've got a couple of mass shootings in Louisiana. So we're like making the national and international news out of Louisiana.
Yeah.
For something horrible in two different parts of our state, and so Louisiana in the news, and not for the best of reasons.
Right.
And that is most unfortunate. We're going to be checking in on what happened with the Mall of Louisiana in Baton Rouge. Totally unexpected. It's one of those things. Who goes to the shopping mall thinking that you're going to have to run and hide from bullets and look for your loved ones and grab hands and duck and dodge and all. And of course, we'll be following up on the shooting in Shreveport as well. had somebody out of North Carolina wanting to come to New Orleans to cause harm. So we'll look in on that as well. And of course, as promised yesterday, we will be in conversation this morning with criminal clerk of court elect Calvin Duncan. I'm pausing because he is the clerk elect, but the state house took a vote yesterday to do away with the office that the man was elected to.
Mm-hmm.
So this is another series of steps happening in Baton Rouge, and they want to get rid of that particular office, saying it's not necessary and not needed, and that our other clerk, our civil clerk, Chelsea Richard Napoleon, can handle these duties. And looks like we're walking down the path of having that election overturned by elimination of the office. So that vote was, I believe it was 68 to 23 yesterday. For those who tuned in, New Orleans Democrats in particular, and Democrats from elsewhere in the state, made a point that this was not just about New Orleans, and this is not the way to run a government, run a democracy, and that one by one, more than 10 of them, maybe even a dozen of them, spoke up to say that this was wrong, and that we're not honoring the vote of the people of Orleans Parish, who elected someone, Calvin Duncan, with 68% of the vote, to be the next clerk. So they're eliminating the office before the man can take the office. And so that's big news out of Baton Rouge. That goes to the Senate Conference Committee next, I believe, where it's expected that that part of the Senate will approve the amended bill, and then it would go to the governor for a signature. And if that governor does as he says he will do and signs it into law, it would be effective immediately when he signs it, but the effective time of the measure would be the end of May 3rd, so before May 4th, which is the day that Calvin Duncan is scheduled to drop the elect part from clerk-elect to become criminal court clerk. So we'll be in conversation with Mr. Duncan about that as well. And there are a number of other things that we'll be paying attention to this morning. And of course, we had a big opening yesterday. It was Locals Day at Jazz Fest, day one. I wasn't up there, but I know a number of people who were, and it looked like a fantastic day. Tuned into some coverage and some of the music, and walking in the neighborhood a bit where I could hear some of the music.
Mm-hmm.
And beautiful day for a Jazz Fest day. And I'm hoping that everything goes well today at Jazz Fest, despite the one man who wanted to cause some disruptions, and we'll be talking about that as well.
Yep. Yeah. There's a lot to unpack from this week. A whole lot to unpack. And so the thing that I come back to in considering what we had happen in Shreveport and Baton Rouge, what could have happened at Jazz Fest, and then the I'm gonna refer to I'm gonna refer to what's happening in Baton Rouge as um, politically violent intentions.
Mm, mm, yeah.
That is a lot to unpack for people, and the damn shame of it is in all of these incidents, black folks are getting harmed in one way or another. In one way or another, and so people say, well, what happened in Shreveport, that was, I mean, that was something that, but it was still black folks getting harmed, regardless of who carried what out.
Hmm.
It's still black folks getting harmed. I don't know anything about the victims in Baton Rouge, but that is the thing. And to me, in this moment, what I wonder in this moment as a people is, where do we go and how do we keep going?
Hmm.
Because right now everything is on its face, whether regardless of the intentions or regardless of whatever is happening, the 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 fallout on our end of the spectrum is really, to me, significant.
Hmm.
And so that is my question. Where do we go from here? How do we keep going from here? Especially with what's happening in Baton Rouge, because what's happening in Baton Rouge it is clearly meant to harm. Clearly, there are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I just saw a term used in the NOLA.com article about the bill to keep Calvin Duncan
Hmm.
out of the office that he rightfully earned,
Hmm.
by John Stanton. And I believe the term that he used was something along the lines of verbal gymnastics or something about that on the
Hmm.
part of the GOP, which is really, I mean, his article is very is a pointed commentary, but the verbal gymnastics, what happened in Shreveport, you're wondering about the situation there, why it got as bad as it did. Um, but that is the thing that I'm really kind of wrestling with right now is, what do we do as a people to keep going? And I mean, we got to keep going. We don't have a choice. We can't stop. We can't give up on anything. But the question for me is how. How do we do it? That is the thing that I'm left with right now. That is the thing that I'm left with.
Yeah. Well, we'll be talking about those things and more. It's 7:12 a.m. We're going to go to break. I'm Will Sutton. I'm here with Eddie Francis. On the other side of the glass, we got Jared, who's holding it down, making things flow in motion with the Good Morning Show. You're hearing our voices, and we'd love to hear yours. We've got a talk line, and it is open. It's wide open right now on this Friday. So as you go about your day, get your things together, please pack up and be safe on the inside before you go to outside where you might harm somebody. But there is a talk line, and Eddie can tell you about that.
Yep, 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422.
This is WBOK, 12:30 a.m. What I was just talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Kubel, and here are today's headlines for you. This morning, we are expecting to learn some more about that deadly mass shooting at the Mall of Louisiana in Baton Rouge. A teenager killed and at least 5 others hurt in what police say was a targeted shooting. Police tell us that 5 people are in custody this morning, and the Mall of Louisiana will stay closed today. Police say that it all started after a dispute between 2 groups who were arguing near the food court before they began shooting at each other. Some of the victims were caught in the crossfire, including 3 high school students from Lafayette. 5 suspects have been detained, and police believe that more will soon be in custody. A North Carolina man is behind bars this morning for allegedly planning to travel here to New Orleans to conduct a mass shooting. Police say a former police officer in North Carolina was tracked down in Florida. Christopher Gillum was arrested at a Destin hotel and will soon be extradited to Louisiana for his charges. Deputies say they recovered a handgun and about 200 rounds of ammunition from his hotel room. Turning now to sports, where a new player is joining the black and gold. With the 8th overall pick in the NFL draft, the Saints selected Jordan Tyson in the first round. Tyson is a wide receiver from Arizona State and is expected to be a big playmaker to help QB Tyler Shuck. Tyson does have a lengthy injury history, including battling a hamstring injury last season and during the draft process, but some argue that he was one of the best receivers in the draft and could be a game changer. The Saints have the 42nd pick in round 2 tonight. And that is a look for you at today's
Trying to grow your
headlines.
business or increase traffic to your location?
WBOK.
We can help.
Great day, everyone.
WBOK 1230 AM has a number of solutions that will meet your individual needs. Give one of our consultants a call today at 504-582-9420 or email us at info@wbok1230.com. And remember, an investment with WBOK is an investment in our community. Call today.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. For those of you all who have been tuned in with us since 701, 2, 3, 4, 10, 12, or just now 7:15, if you're just tuning in. Your timing's great because we welcome you to join our WBOK family of listeners who are listening on WBOK 1230 AM, watching and listening on WBOK's YouTube channel, watching and listening, of course, on WBOK's Facebook page, Facebook Live. We love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Sure wish we could see some of y'all. You know how they put the little blocks up on the monitor, and I wish we could see those of you all who wanted us to be able to see you. You know, that would be cool. But we know you're there. Good morning, and thank you for tuning in. As Eddie and I were talking before the break, it's been one heck of a week. So much going on, and as you heard in that news report just now, one of the horrible things that has happened yesterday was the Mall of Louisiana shooting. And you know, you see these things on the national news. They're hundreds of miles, states away, and you think, man, sure glad it's not here. And of course, you always wonder, okay, what about suspects?
Mm-hmm.
Black or white?
Mm-hmm.
Who's hurt? Black
Yeah.
or white?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, let's just face it. I mean, that's part of what goes on in our head. Of course, a mall in not all locations, but lots of locations are often diverse crowds. And so sometimes we might think that it's one type of person or another. But since this happened during daylight and not like in the evening on a weekend with teens hanging out outside the movie theater and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that kind of thing, I'm not sure this is what we were anticipating as this developed yesterday. So we have a news report out of Baton Rouge for you to listen to, for those on audio, and for those who can watch. I think you might be able to check it out as well.
Now, WBRZ News 2 News starts with breaking news.
We have team coverage tonight of that breaking news, a mass shooting at the Mall of Louisiana this afternoon in Baton Rouge. Our team standing by with Haley Jefferson at the Mall of Louisiana, Joe Collins at Our Lady of the Lake Hospital, where victims were transported, and Jordan Ponzio, who spoke with a witness at the scene. Here is what we know right now. One person is dead, 5 others injured. One of them is currently in surgery. The police chief says this was a gang-related shooting with 5 suspects now in custody. News 2's Haley Jefferson leads off our team coverage.
Yes, Sylvia, the scene is kind of starting to clear out here at the Mall of Louisiana. We're near the food court area where police say around 1:22 p.m. a shooting occurred, and it was 2 groups, 2 individuals going back and forth, having some sort of argument. Police do not believe this was a targeted, police believe this was a targeted attack and not an act of random violence. Now, we just spoke with Chief T.J. Morris, who says they have 5 people in custody.
We also know just from our investigation and looking at everything, this was not some kind of random shooting, random event, but 2 groups of people that met up, exchanged words, argument, and then there were shots fired after that. And we had an officer here already that works assigned here to the mall. Other officers got here very quickly. Huge law enforcement response along with medical response to be able to secure the scene and get those patients transported to hospitals very quickly.
Now, Sylvia, like you said at the top of the show, 1 person is dead. 5 other victims are at the hospital, and that's where you'll find News 2's Joe Collins at our...
Okay, so that was a news report from last night out of Baton Rouge, the Mall of Louisiana. Thank you to our media colleagues for providing that report. Unfortunately, there was someone who was killed and 5 others who were injured. Don't want to see anybody hurt, but thankfully the police had quickly identified this as a beef in a targeted shooting. We don't know much more about the person who was killed, and there were a number of folks who were injured. 5 was the report. Unfortunately, 3 Ascension Episcopal School students were at the mall from Lafayette. So, as is true with high school senior years, there are things that kind of are customs and traditions in the fall, but particularly in the spring. And so yesterday was Senior Skip Day.
Oh,
Senior Skip Day
yeah.
at their school. So a pretty common thing for seniors to do on a Senior Skip Day is to skip out on school, but to hang out together and celebrate being a senior and celebrate that you'll be done with high school soon. And but we don't have a report about those specific students. The school did put out a notice not identifying the students, but identifying that there were students from their school that were involved in the shooting. Not saying they were shot, but saying that they were involved in what happened. And the Lafayette Mayor President, Monique Blanco Boulette, issued a statement on Facebook, and her husband's name is David, hence the reference to David. Said, David and I are asking the Lafayette community to join us in holding all these families close in prayer. I am very grateful for the first responders that acted quickly this afternoon, and I've reached out to Baton Rouge Mayor President Sid Edwards to offer Lafayette's full support in whatever way we can as families in both cities begin to deal with the aftermath of this tragedy. And the Ascension Episcopal School also had a statement as well. Expressing that they were heartbroken by the news that some of the students were involved in a serious off-campus incident.
Yes, yes. Um, yes, and one of the things that that I'm noticing that was actually written in the report, looking at the media report, is that that authorities are saying that they believe that there are more suspects that they expect to apprehend, and so that is really something about the that's something about this that you have to wonder what could have possibly happened, what was going on. Yeah, you haven't really heard about anything like this since the '90s when gang activity was pretty active. And so this is to me is very interesting, especially since they describe it as being gang related. And so that is something that I'm really wondering about too. The two groups of people that they're talking about, what exactly do they think was going on? What was it actually gang related activity? That's what I'm really interested in about this particular story. So
Yeah, I know law enforcement in particular, and some of us are quick to go to the word gang.
yeah.
And sometimes if there's a beef, it might be a beef,
Hmm.
but it might not be a gang.
That's
It,
what I,
it, it
that's
might
what
be
yeah.
here's my friend Bill and his friend Sammy, and their friends been friends since fourth grade. But if you're friends from fourth grade, doesn't mean you don't get upset with each other. And sometimes there might be a beef, and one might do something they didn't intend to do, but harm the other. But it doesn't mean it was a gang.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I found it very interesting that they use that term. The Advocate report also mentions that there was someone there named Riley Robertson who was a photographer, and what Robertson said is that it sounded like several semi-automatic weapons firing at the same time, and the gunfire persisted for about 30 to 40 seconds, and the shots were pretty close together. Um, so yeah, this to me is an interesting situation, and again, I'm just really wondering who these two groups of people were, and or they are, and what exactly the situation was, and who are the other people that the authorities are looking to apprehend as part of this. So this is this comes across to me as kind of a bizarre situation.
It does. Hmm.
Yeah, it comes across as a bizarre situation. So I'm really interested in what was going on with these groups of people, what was happening that led to the shooting.
Yeah, and according to Baton Rouge police, the surveillance footage, because these days, if you go to a strip shopping center or you go to a sports complex, an arena, or if you go to a mall, you can expect that there are cameras around, and their surveillance footage, according to Baton Rouge police, clearly show two groups of people arguing.
Hmm.
So there might have been one or two perpetrators with guns, although we do not know that. There
Hmm.
might have been more than one or two guns. There might have been some other weapons involved, but at least according to Baton Rouge police, based on the early investigation yesterday, the surveillance footage showed two groups of people arguing before the shooting started. And then, of course, one of the things that can happen when people have guns is they don't know how to use them.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
So
and that can lead to other people being hurt because they might be flinging their wrists
mhm.
at somebody and not really pointing directly and not hit, and even not being a good shot.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
other people can get hurt.
yeah.
So I pray that those high school students are okay. There was a report from the Acadiana Advocate that one of the high school students was in critical condition, but it's unclear whether that was one of the high school students noted by the school who was at the mall at that time. So we'll have to wait and see how things develop today on that. But our prayers go out to the families of those students, even if they were not shot or injured. The trauma.
Oh, they're traumatized.
You know?
Yeah.
And just because we know about the Ascension High School students being there doesn't mean that there weren't other dozens or scores of people also affected.
Yeah.
We just don't have the reports of who those people were and what they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine even being close to it. That could really, really have an effect on you. And I decided to do just a really, really quick search. I asked the question, is there a gang problem in Baton Rouge on Google? Got an AI overview as a result. And there's a line that says, as of early 2026, law enforcement reports that these groups, gangs, are responsible for 40% to 60% of violent crimes in East Baton Rouge Parish. So as it turns out, it looks like there is actually a gang problem in Baton Rouge, and it bled over into pardon the terminology, but it bled over into what happened at the Mall of Louisiana, and these and the citations are from WBRZ television station in Baton Rouge. Some of the groups identified by recent law enforcement. So there actually are some groups. Groups called the Vultures, Bleeders, 60 Gang, BBG, TBG, FSY, and CC. So it looks like there's a defined issue that the folks in Baton Rouge have been dealing with, and it spilled over into the Mall of Louisiana yesterday.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna take a break, and we're gonna check in on another mass shooting, the one that happened on Sunday in Shreveport. We checked in with my friend Chris Demerjen from KSLA in Shreveport earlier this week, and he's going to be back with us. He's got a few minutes to spare to give us an update on what's happening and what has developed in Shreveport with that mass shooting right after the break. I'm Will Sutton. This is the Good Morning Show. I'm here with Eddie Francis. We've just wrapped up a conversation talking about the Mall of Louisiana shooting. We'll be talking about what's going on in Shreveport after the break. If you want to give us a ring, we'd be happy to hear from you. What's that talk line number?
It is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422.
This is WBOK, 1230 a.m., what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Partly to mostly cloudy skies for today. We'll see highs 81 to 85. There is a chance for a scattered shower this afternoon and evening, but more of those storms expected overnight. We'll see that after 9 p.m. And then lows for tonight about 65 to 70. We could see more storms as we wake up for early Saturday morning after 4 a.m. Moving out by about 10 a.m. Another round of scattered showers possible for your Saturday afternoon. For the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Late nights are made for chillin', and you can do just that every Sunday night at 10 p.m. as DJ Wick brings you The Love Zone. It's the perfect way to top off your weekend with your favorite old and new school ballads. So sit back, relax, and let DJ Wick take you to the Love Zone on WBOK and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
Join the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation as it brings the island vibes of Jamaica to Generations Hall at the 2026 Jazz and Heritage Gala on Wednesday, April 22nd from 7 till 10 p.m. One love, one music, one people presents an electric evening supporting music, education with iconic performances by the Wailers featuring Julia Marley, Big Sam's Funky Nation, and the Don, Moose Jameson's Heritage School of Music All-Stars featuring Deacon John. Visit jazzandheritagegala.com for more information.
City Park is where to to go when you don't know where to go. Turn towards the city center and start walking. Before long, you'll end up where you belong, at the heart of the city, New Orleans City Park. Stroll along the reeded marsh, wander through the sculpture garden, rest and recharge beneath ancient oak trees. This is where your spirit goes to grow. It's in our nature to yearn for nature. NewOrleansCityPark.org, heart of the city.
Looking for a great deal on your next phone? Come see us at your locally owned AT&T store for the latest Samsung and iPhones. Visit us at 3616 South Carrollton Avenue. We have great offers on watches, tablets, accessories, and internet service. Whatever your connectivity needs are, our team is here to help you keep connected. Visit us today at AT&T, 3616 South Carrollton Avenue. Locally owned and proudly giving back to the community.
Well, Saints of God, this is Pastor David Impartan Sr. coming to you over the airways of WBOK, your favorite host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. Want to invite you to our show every Saturday from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. That's Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. Want you to invite your family and friends to a broadcast that's designed to change your life, the way you think, the way you act, and what you eat. We want you to tune in every Saturday at 1 o'clock, WBOK, 12:30 a.m. See you on Saturday.
This is Jaden Simone, host of Uncomfortable Situations.
Join us on May 9th every Saturday. Tune in from 5 to 6 for conversations that keep you uncomfortable.
Good morning. Wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. It's 7:35 a.m. I'm Will Sutton. With me is Eddie Francis. We're talking about, unfortunately, mass shootings this week. Mass shooting at Mall of Louisiana in Baton Rouge yesterday afternoon, and that story was developing into the night and this morning with one person killed and 5 injured. Part of the good news of that bad news story is that 5 people were apprehended rather quickly, and there are police have identified other suspects, but at least 5 people are in custody, and so we'll be watching those developments today. Meanwhile, earlier this week, we had a mass shooting in Shreveport, Cedar Grove neighborhood, and that was most unfortunate. Because a man, the perpetrator, killed 8 people, all of them children, 3 to 11 years old, all of them relatives of his, 7 of the 8 his own kids, and the 8th their cousin and his nephew. Most unexpected, sad, filicide event in Shreveport. We don't hear about this often. When we do hear about a parent killing a kid, oftentimes it's a infant, maybe a toddler, but I really don't recall anything like this anywhere that I've lived with a parent killing several of his or her own kids. I do remember, of course, the infamous case of the woman who drowned 3 kids from many years ago. But this is really heartbreaking. So we've got Chris Demersion on the line. Good morning, Chris, from KSLA. Good morning to you. You're on with Will Sutton and Eddie Francis right here at the Good Morning Show. How are you, sir?
Hey, how you guys doing this morning? This is Sutton, Dr. Francis. Hope all are doing well.
Great. Eddie, I appreciate your, I'm sorry, Chris, I'm glad that you're joining us this morning. Thank you for joining us the other morning and bringing us up to date. As of that point, of course, things have developed more since then. I know that there was one of the developments is involved a man in Cedar Grove who's facing gun charges. But before I want to play that clip from your colleague, but before we do, other than that development, what are some of the other things that have happened as of this morning?
Well, yesterday a man was arrested in Bossier City. Actually, it's the gentleman who Shamar Elkins, the shooter, was running to in Bossier City whenever he was shot. Or according to this, some report, he was shot and killed. According to some report, he was ultimately shot at in Bossier City. The house he's going to, the owner of the house, Michael Mayans, who actually was Elkins' sort of commanding officer whenever Elkins served in the National Guard. He was actually arrested and charged with illegally possessing a firearm while being under a domestic violence injunction. He faces up to 15 years in federal prison for this charge. Quite a shock, because we got a call late yesterday afternoon in our newsroom that there was a huge police presence at the house, where actually one of our reporters did an interview with this man the other day in regards to the shooting and how the two are related to each other in the shooting. We drove over to the gentleman's house and did an interview with him, and we heard yesterday that there was possibly a large police presence over there. And when our reporter did get over there, he confirmed that there was a huge police presence, and it was ATF agents were spotted outside the house, several state and local law enforcement agencies as well. But it was definitely something that wasn't expected, and certainly a twist in this case.
So help me be clear about this, Chris. The man who was arrested yesterday was under a domestic violence injunction.
He was.
And that's different from the shooter, who now deceased, who killed the 8 kids.
Yes, the two are not related, but yeah, the two are definitely not related at all. But it was also, of course, just very interesting that this arrest came at that particular time. It was definitely something that we certainly didn't expect. But of course, as mentioned, the two are unrelated, as we know of for right now.
Yeah. So the connection is their relationship in the National Guard. So the domestic violence injunction against the one man, Michael Mayans, am I saying that right?
Yeah. Mayans.
He was under a domestic violence injunction, and when you are under such an injunction, in nearly all cases, I believe, you're not supposed to have firearms. So the reason that he got arrested is because of the violation of that domestic violence injunction. And the reason he came to attention of the Shreveport Police and the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Louisiana is because the shooter, the perpetrator, now deceased, after killing 8 kids, went to his home. Is that correct?
Yes, he drove to his home from the Cedar Grove neighborhood after the shootings, and then he was on the high-speed police chase with the Shreveport police. Of course, drove into Bossier as well, and became also was chased by Bossier Sheriff's Office, Bossier PD, as well as Louisiana State Police. And he eventually drove to the front of Mayans' home, as seen on the nearby Ring camera. And of course, as mentioned, what was still up in the air is if Shreveport PD officially killed him, or if Elkins did indeed shoot himself. That actually is still up in the air just days later. And of course, as you know, those are answers we may not get for weeks, if that.
Mm. So, but for the deceased perpetrator going to his home, he may not have been arrested. Is that right?
Yeah, and that's absolutely right. This may not even be a thing at all, only for the fact that he was shot and killed in front of his home, and so it just made it a truly interesting twist. In a case that we were following, of course, extensively since Sunday, and just seeing this happen certainly was definitely a shock. And yeah, as mentioned, if it weren't for that, him just simply driving to his house to try to reach out to him, because if according to a Facebook post from Michael from several days ago, the two had been in contact a little bit and trying to reach out to him some more to kind of get a hold of him and get a hold to him. And it's just really interesting how that and him driving from Cedar Grove to Bossier has led to this.
About how far is that? Give us a sense of distance, geography from the Cedar Grove neighborhood to the Mayance home in Bossier. How long would that drive take?
It was about 20 minutes, about 20, 25 minutes, exactly, coming from the Cedar Grove to North Bossier area. So definitely quite a distance, definitely more than about 6-7 miles away from the point of where the shooting was in Cedar Grove to where where Michael Mays' house is in Bossier City.
Okay. Chris, do you have another few minutes to hold on, talk with us a little bit more?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, we'd like to play a report from one of your colleagues at KSLA, and on the backside of that, maybe you can give us an update about where things stand with the children's schools, and any funeral arrangements or things of that nature. So let's go to your colleague's report from KSLA.
Eight children, including injuring 2 women. KSLA News 12's Marvin Andrade is out there on the street tonight, where investigators were active this afternoon looking into this. What can you tell us, Marvin?
Well, Jeff, investigators were just here, and they're still here, as you can see behind me, at the house where Shamar Elkins died. They said that they were executing, ATF spokesperson said that they were executing a search warrant and an arrest warrant. Right now, they say it is in connection with the mass shooting happening Sunday. I can't really say what exactly they have found yet because it is really early stages. The spokesperson said that they'll have more information once it's available for them. They had to go through all of the steps to be able to provide that information to the public. But what I can say is that there is multiple ATF agents that have been entering and exiting the house. They have what seems like a bucket on the floor as well that they're grabbing stuff from and putting stuff in. They have objects that they've been carrying in and out as well. What are those objects? We don't know just yet, as this is an ongoing investigation. But right now we have the details that they were executing. ATF spokesperson said that the owner of the home has a search warrant an arrest warrant and a search warrant. That's what they were executing right now. We'll have more details on this once we learn more from the U.S. Attorney's Office. Reporting live in Bossier Parish, Marvin Andrade with KSLA News 12.
Okay. Well, that was one of your colleagues. Obviously, you all have had full team coverage over the week. I'm sure it's been quite a week for you all at KSLA in that newsroom, trying to cover the story while you an international story while you're covering other news as well. Do you have?
Yeah, Chris, Eddie Francis here. Pleasure to meet you. We actually have a question from our Facebook audience, and one of our listeners is asking, I'm confused. So the father drove to the gun owner's home to talk to him, and I would add to that just a little bit more about the relationship between those two.
Yeah, so at one point, of course, it's a pleasure to talk to you, sir, as well. The Facebook post mentioned earlier from Michael, he had mentioned in the post that the two had a prior relationship because at one point Elkins was in the National Guard and active, and Michael kind of served as his commanding officer at several points during that time, and the two did establish a relationship, and Elkins did confide in him several times throughout the course of the time they knew each other from when during Elkins' first time in the National Guard. So that's where that relationship kind of stems from, because he served as his commanding officer. So he always had tabs with Elkins at first, and so that relationship continued even after Elkins left the National Guard.
Okay, got it.
All right. So, Chris, how have things been going with the students who went to school with these kids? Obviously, the 3-year-old may not have been enrolled in a full-time program or even a part-time program, but with ages 3 to 11, several of those kids were in schools, and I believe 2 or 3 different schools because of their age ranges. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Linwood Charter, Johnny L. Cochran over here in Shreveport, just seeing a few of the schools, the kids are just still distraught. The teachers are still distraught. It's just still unbelievable. It's a little shock to the system and still hasn't set in for a lot of people in the community. I spoke to the Caddo Parish senior leader of counseling the other day, and she just mentioned the amount of staff that have come to her and asked her plenty of questions and have come to her for advice after this tough situation. At each of the schools, and at 5 other, officially 5 Caddo Parish schools, including Southwood High School in Shreveport, they have at least pinwheels, up to 8 pinwheels outside, and some have teddy bears attached to them. Plenty of them have cards out on the outside of it, of pinwheels, and other messages as well, other signs, other objects as well, just to show support for the 8 children who were tragically killed. So there's a memorial set up all across the city. No matter what part of town you're in, you'll definitely see about 8 pinwheels in a lot of schools in Shreveport just to remember these victims. So it's definitely something that's touched everyone in the community, including the school board as well, with the kids going to school within the Caddo Parish school system.
And Chris, have there been a determination about memorials or funeral services for any or all of these kids?
We are seeing mixed messages right now. We did see something unconfirmed for May 23rd at the Shreveport Convention Center. That's unconfirmed. We're still waiting to see hear official word from the family. But that's something a date that's been tossed around as a potential funeral date here in Shreveport. And definitely the Shreveport Convention Center is a place that can hold, if this is, the official place, the Shreveport Convention Center can hold thousands of people. And you've got to think, with a situation like this that happened in Shreveport, the world is going to be coming down here. As a matter of fact, Mr. Sutton, I spoke to someone from Delaware at another story I did on Wednesday. There's a gentleman who drove down from Delaware as part of Hope Ministry. He came down after he was inspired to come down to be with the community after this tragedy, after losing his son to cancer years prior. And even during the interview, he said, he lost his left lung and has 2/3 of a right lung, and still made the trip down to Shreveport because he wanted to make sure he wanted to bless this community after tragedy, because he suffered a tragedy of his own. So just some of the stories you've heard after this tragic shooting in Shreveport are just from the community side of things are unbelievable, to seeing people come together and unite after this.
And can you confirm, Chris, that the Governor Jeff Landry said that the state would make sure that there was funeral coverage expenses were taken care of? Since then, I believe the Love One Louisiana Foundation, the First Lady Sharon Landry's foundation, has stepped up to pay those expenses. Can you confirm that?
Yes. At a press conference on Monday, Governor Jeff Landry was in town. He was with Shreveport Mayor Tom Arsenault. They had a press conference inside Government Plaza in downtown Shreveport. And yes, the Governor Jeff Landry did announce that he and his wife Sharon Landry's foundation, the Love One Louisiana Foundation, they'll be covering all expenses for the funerals of each, or for the funeral for each of the 8 children who were tragically killed in Shreveport. And he plans to cover it. We've had so many people in throughout the world really say they're going to step up. But Governor Jeff Landry and his wife Sharon's Love One Louisiana Foundation, they do plan to cover the cost of the funeral.
And I know that there seem to be a number of funds that have been set up for different purposes, but with our WBOK family of listeners, we certainly always want to be cautious about suggesting that people contribute to one fund or another if they're so inclined. But you're familiar with the Community Foundation of North Louisiana, which I believe has set up 2 separate funds, a Survivors Fund and a Memorial Fund. Yes, and that's one thing that they have asked us to release as well, is to make sure that the link they click is valid, the make sure everything else is valid before they donate, because they're having fake pages that have popped up since Sunday, unfortunately. And the organization you just mentioned, Mr. Sutton, they are the organization that has been dealing with this since Sunday. So they are an accredited organization that's able to accept donation payments for this terrible tragedy. All right. Well, thank you very much, Chris. Chris Demergent, sports director at KSLA in Shreveport, on part of the team coverage at KSLA in Shreveport, covering the horrific mass shooting from Sunday. We appreciate you getting up earlier than you might normally do on a Friday morning to join us with the WPLK family of listeners to give us this update.
No problem at all. Such an honor to be here. Thank you both.
Lord's blessings, and have a fabulous day. All right, I'm Will Sutton. I'm here with Eddie Francis. We're going to go to break, and as promised, we will have criminal court clerk-elect Calvin Duncan here at WBOK 12:30 a.m. Most unfortunate action taken yesterday, but we're going to talk with Mr. Duncan about how he and we got to this point, and what happened yesterday, what we're anticipating today and in the coming days, and how he's looking forward to taking an office that they don't want him to have. So we'll be hearing from him very soon. This is WBOK, and the talk line number is
504-582-9422, 504-582-9422.
This is WBOK 12:30 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. As BET's co-founder, Sheila Johnson has a ton of experience in media. But a lot's changed since she first got the black-focused entertainment cable network off the ground. Johnson spoke to Bloomberg about the state of media and what black audiences might be seeking out now.
I just think that the landscape and the racial landscape of what African Americans are watching is changing. And I just think that we have got such a broad perspective of people out there that want something different, especially this younger generation. So we need to reevaluate what are the goals of black media and what are the answers? What is it out there that we need to answer?
According to Nielsen, just over 50% of black viewers feel there isn't enough content on TV from people of their identity group. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Lowe's has the brands pros trust to get the job done. You can now shop new Catalyst fencing solutions and save big when you do. 10% off when you buy in bulk. Plus, save $180 on a DeWalt 12-inch dual bevel sliding compound miter saw. Now just $449. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/6 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Liberty Mutual customized this song for you. Like your car insurance, it's custom too, yeah. Liberty Mutual's got the coverage that could save you money. Thanks to Doug and Limu, well now you can go and take that cruise. Liberty, 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 yeah.
Missed a show? Want to hear that guest everyone's talking about? WBOK is now streaming on all your favorite podcast apps. Just search WBOK Media, hit download, share with a friend, and don't forget to rate your favorite shows 5 stars. Because when our voices are heard, our impact grows.
Transform your bathroom with the beautiful quality of Bath Planet. As a trusted leader in bathroom renovation, Bath Planet has earned the Good Housekeeping seal, a symbol of quality and consumer confidence for over 100 years. Get half off installation or 18 months with no interest and no payments. Whether it's tub replacement, a shower replacement, or a tub-to-shower conversion, Bath Planet makes your custom bath fast, easy, and affordable. Here's how it works. 1. Call to schedule your free, no-obligation consultation. 2. Our design experts come to you with real samples to customize your dream bath. 3. Our certified installers complete the transformation in as little as 1 day. And right now, for a limited time, you can upgrade your bathroom for 50% off installation or choose 18 months with no interest and no payments. But you need to call now. This special offer is only available by calling 800-981-8177. That's 800-981-8177. Call 800-981-8177 right now before the offer ends.
This is The Law in Your Legacy. I'm attorney Pete Hamilton.
I'm attorney Ryan Hamilton.
If you had $1 million, would you leave it to an 18-year-old?
Hopefully not, but that's exactly what can happen with a simple will. The money goes straight to your kids when they hit the legal age, no guardrails.
A trust lets you control when and how they receive their inheritance. You can set ages, milestones, or even make sure they finish school first.
Give them security, not a spending spree.
This is not legal advice. That's just a tip brought to you by Liberty Bank and Trust. For more information, go to libertybank.net or contact us at 504-915-5016.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Chicago's Black Mayor Brandon Johnson is celebrating the completion of the city's newest library solar project.
And here at the Tolman branch, the new solar panels will help to offset a projected 43% of this building's total electricity consumption.
The installation marks Chicago's third solar-powered library. A black mother is demanding answers after her 23-year-old son, Jalen Kimball, died in a Tennessee jail. Authorities have launched a homicide investigation into his traumatic head injury in custody. Tabitha Tatum described her son as full of life and said she'll keep fighting, even amid her own health battles. And Black Georgia Congressman David Scott has died at the age of 80. The longtime Democrat served for decades after first being elected in 1974 and made history as the first black chair of the House Agriculture Committee in 2020. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Morning Show right here at WBOK, 12:30 a.m. We appreciate those of you all who wake up with us every weekday morning to join the Good Morning Show and be a part of our WBOK family of listeners for these couple of hours. And if you're just tuning in, we appreciate you being on time for joining us for this part of the show and this conversation. Well, we know that there are a lot of people who are listening on radio, but also on WBOK's YouTube channel and on Facebook Live and perhaps Instagram as well. It is 8:04 a.m. And as I have to do every day, it's a school day. So please, please, please watch out for our babies and the kiddos because they have to take care of their work, going to school, getting that education so they can grow up to be fine young citizens and participate in this democracy that we have sometimes. And they can participate in ways that perhaps we haven't at this point. As promised, we will be in conversation with criminal court clerk-elect Calvin Duncan. I'm Will Sutton. With me is Eddie Francis. And y'all know I've had a few things to say about this. And so I've written about it. I've talked about it, did a little video about it. And for those of you all who are listening and some who are watching, let's play the video that I did.
Who decide who should represent them in every single elected office, including the clerk of criminal court. But the state legislature wants to decide that the guy that we just elected in November with 68% of the vote should not even take office. The state legislature wants to merge the civil and criminal district clerk offices in New Orleans, except they didn't talk to anybody in New Orleans. Why would you do that? Come into my house and say, I want to move this, and you haven't even talked to me about whether you're invited. You're not invited. So get out of our business. Leave it alone. Let Calvin Duncan take office in May. Convicted of murder back in the 1980s.
Well,
he was cleared.
There was, that's part of the video and a report that I did about a week ago. And of course, this measure has been moving through the legislature, and we got a vote yesterday, 68-23 in the House for this measure to proceed to abolish the office that Calvin Duncan was rightfully elected to hold. So now that moves from the House and goes to the Louisiana State Senate Conference Committee. I don't know if it's been scheduled yet for today or next week. After that committee, assuming that they take the similar action to approve it, it would then go to the governor for his signature, and he has expressed in the past that he intends to sign it to officially abolish the office. I'm Will Sutton. I'm here with Eddie Francis, and good morning, Mr. Duncan.
Good morning.
Well, not the type of Friday that we were anticipating back when you were elected in the fall, but here we are with our dominant GOP state legislature planning on voting through the process to eliminate the office that you were rightfully elected to fill. So you have such an incredible story, and a number of people have heard your story. And there's no doubt that that's part of why people have rallied behind you. But beyond that story, I just want to say, it's not just that story. It's the work that you have done since you were behind bars, since you came out of prison, since you have been advocating for people's rights, that gave people a chance to feel like we could take the clerk office in a new direction, and that it would be good for people who come in contact with that office as well as people who don't come in contact with that office. So congratulations on your election.
Thank you.
I am disappointed, frustrating, and I'll say pissed that this is happening to you and to us. But thank you for coming to WBOK this morning to talk about what's going on.
Thank you. It's just my pleasure to be here. Really.
So, when you got elected, did you think that you were being elected to an office that would not exist?
No, when I was elected, I thought I had reached, my dream, and finally was going to get a chance to live out something that I've been working for towards since I was exposed to the criminal legal system in 1982. That is, I was going to actually make sure that people in prison and also people on the outside the world, the citizens, have access to public documents to make sure that we actually know what's going on in criminal cases. And the reason why that has always been important to me is if we can't get our documents while we're in prison, we miss our deadline and deadlines to file into court. The documents is what we need to demonstrate that some of us are innocent and some of us not innocent, but we wasn't afforded a fair trial. Mm-hmm. And without those documents, you cannot fulfill that requirement. And furthermore, when they can't find the documents, when they throw the documents away or misplace the documents, when evidence gets lost, innocent people linger in jail, and then by some accident, they discover the evidence, and then they realize, whoa, 20 years, 30 years has passed, and now the victim has to be told that we had the wrong person. So my goal has always been to make sure that what happened to me and happened to other people never happened to nobody else.
At what point did you wake up one day or get a phone call or a text when you realized that something you worked so hard for, that people were going to try to take it away?
Really, it's being vulnerable. It really crushed my spirit, really. It really knocked me. I've been knocked down a lot of times. But that was the time that when I got knocked down, that I know that they was, the most powerful people in this state was trying to knock me down this time. And I knew that if they succeed, I dreaded that. I dreaded yesterday that would happen. And now, because that is a disappointment to me, because that's something that I worked towards all my life, to make sure what happened to me never happened to nobody else. And so now being told that, Calvin, you may not be able to do what you wanted to do. That is to make sure that everybody have access to the courts. And so, I don't know how my spirit going to recover from that, but that is really crushing to see yesterday.
Well, it's a heck of a thing to hear you say that, because one of the things about you is that people continue to be amazed and blessed by your humble spirit, your ability to continue life and advocacy despite all of that you have been through. So to have something like this happen and feel crushed, it had to take something really, really hard to crush you in that way. Though I know you're not giving up.
No, I would never give up.
No, you're not giving up.
Because it's too much at stake. What happened yesterday and what eventually is going to happen when the governor signed it is that our whole criminal legal system going to be in chaos. We barely function now. So just imagine what it's being in total chaos. That is, how evidence is going to be preserved. And then when I started this campaign, I made promises. Mm-hmm. That is, that I was going to make sure that people in prison and people on the outside, citizens, victims, that they was going to be able to come to the criminal district court clerk's office and have better access to that office. And so I would always continue to fight for that. And so that's even, only reason why what I was gonna do today is just stay in bed.
Right.
But I promised you that I was coming. Because I wanted to kind of like, realize of what actually happened and try to figure out would it be, how should I maneuver after this, which is, how to make sure that what happened to me never happened to nobody else, and fulfill my promise to the people that voted for me. That is to make that office a better office.
So let's go back to yesterday. There were 68 people who voted to abolish the office, 23 who voted not to. What obviously you don't have time and even mechanism to contact each of the 68 and each of the 23. But what would be your message to the 68 people who took that vote yesterday?
Well,
and what would be your message to the 23?
I would have no message for the 68, but for the 23 is thank you. And thank them for actually speaking the truth, trying to explain to a government that seemed to not to care that everybody in this state is entitled to respect, dignity, justice, and most of all, they're entitled to have their vote counted and to mean something. And that meant a lot to me to see them stand up and say, don't take our right to vote from us. We went out and voted, and y'all should honor it. I really admire those people for doing that, telling their colleagues that what y'all about to do is totally wrong. But I'm going to tell you it's wrong. It's not going to be a secret. It's wrong. And we're going to stand up and let it be heard that it's wrong, and they should not do that to the citizens of New Orleans. They should not disregard the most fundamental right that we have in this country is to participate in this democratic process. And then to tell the citizens of New Orleans that, no, we got one king. He decides. One king decide that our vote don't count. And that is a tragedy.
So a couple of things. First of all, I will start by addressing you as Calvin Duncan, JD.
Yeah.
I want to start with that. To me, that is incredibly important in this story. The other part, though, is that something that seems to get glossed over in talking about you as a public servant is something that you just said, and it stands out to me. And that is making sure that the victims also have access to these documents, because what I'm hearing is that there was a burden to them also in being told that the wrong person was put in jail.
Yeah.
And I think people need to hear more about that, because I can only imagine that if something happened to a loved one and they said, okay, Eddie, we got him, they went to jail, and I'm going, phew. And then 20 years later, 30 years later, I find out that the person they got wasn't even the person who did it. I'm not happy about that, because I'm not sitting there going, oh, just go get anybody and put them in jail. I don't care. I know some people do feel that way, but talk a little bit more about that, because I think it's important for people to understand that what your intention has been as a public servant has been for justice to be served on all sides and to release victims from that burden. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I'm talking to some of the victims, and one of the things that they are baffled about, why did it take so long? I thought I had the right person. I thought, and all the while I was wrong. And they had the evidence, the DNA evidence, the biological evidence. They had the documents, and it was nobody. They was there, but it couldn't be found because they was lost. And now 20 and 30 years later, somebody accidentally finds it in a corner somewhere, whether it's in a courthouse, whether it's in wherever the clerk's office stored the evidence at, and then they test it, and then they got it wrong. And then some of the victims, like it's a good book called Picking Cotton. Jennifer, she said, I looked at the perpetrator's face. I wanted to get it right. Years later, the evidence is examined, and she had it wrong. And this the trauma of this, that they had that they had it wrong, and the government contributed to that. If the evidence wasn't lost and the documents was freely available, the police reports available, the DA files are available, they could look at the case and say, look, I think we got the wrong person. Not wait 40 years later, 20 years later. And then in my case, close to 30 years later, then they tell me, oh, you're too late. You should have got those documents years ago. But y'all was hiding it years ago. And I was in prison trying to get access to those documents, trying to write the clerk's office over and over and over. Had family members go to the clerk's office to try to get documents. And they're not there. Then, after I started running for office, we documents in the landfill. That's awful. But I don't know how victims feel, but listening to them, and then in a lot of cases, once they put it in their mind, they got the right person. It's hard to get that out of their mind. Even Jennifer in that book, she said, I know Cotton is not the person. Ronald Cotton is not the person after the DNA evidence showed. She said, but in my mind, it's still him.
And we're talking about a level of negligence that's not just hurting the person in prison. This is a level of negligence that's hurting victims, families. And I have got to imagine that for victims and their families, there's got to be a level of rage that comes along with knowing that law enforcement or government or someone who was supposed to have your back, the people who were supposed to have there's a level of rage of knowing that they were negligent too. And what you have been trying to do and what you want to do is you want to reduce that negligence. You want to keep that stuff in check. And you want the public to be able to help keep it in check.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In Louisiana, we have a constitutional right to access to public documents. So we can actually participate in this democratic process, so we can know what our officials or public officials are doing. But when like the criminal district, the criminal district court, when they fail in that obligation, and the thing that really saddened me was that I go to other places, other parishes, and I could get access to the documents that people need to meet their deadline. Not without a struggle, but in New Orleans, I couldn't do that because of negligence or I don't care attitude. And then when I would go in that office, just the looks that the contempt they would look at, like what do you want? Why you want these documents? They've been proven, things like that really affects my spirit. And said I was going to do something, but my whole goal was to make sure that what happened to me and other people never happened to nobody else. And I thought that I had finally achieved that. And that's what made, when I got out of prison, I got my education. I went to law school. I'll go around educating people so that we could save our children from going through that system, educating public officials so that we could be better. And then, I get it. And then the king said, Calvin, you can't have it. And they, it's kind of devastating. Yeah.
So at this point, maybe there's a change of enough hearts in the Senate that if they can't bring themselves to say no, this isn't right, maybe they can set it aside and not take action and not send this measure to the governor. I know that's may not be probable, but if by chance they hear from enough of their own constituents outside of Orleans Parish who can look at this and see that they would not want this done to them, and convince enough of those legislators that if you can't vote to stop it, to at least don't vote to have it proceed. If there's a way that this office is not abolished and your ceremonial swearing in, you can have an official swearing in on May 4th. What do you want to do on day one?
Well, first, if it's possible that those elected our representative in the Senate, if it's possible, my request to them would be, don't worry about Calvin. Worry about the people that you're going to be letting down that came out to vote. Honor their vote. Don't worry about Calvin. Calvin going to be all right. Think about the people that you're going to be letting down. Put Calvin out your mind. Think about the people that came, that 68.2% of the people that came out to vote. Don't disenfranchise them. That would be my message to the representatives in the Senate. If it was possible that you could have the courage to don't do it for Calvin. Do it for the people that elected me. Don't disenfranchise them. When I was thinking about that, I lost my thoughts.
That's okay. Day one.
Day one.
What? I mean, you
day one.
On a number of things.
Day one would be
some of them. What will day one look like? Assuming this does not go through, and you are a duly elected clerk, and you take office on May 4th. What's happening on May 4th?
I would get the records. I would make sure that those records are properly scanned and available. Day one. Day two. I will make sure that the evidence is properly stored so that it could be available for testing in the future. So day one would be the documents, the records, making sure that they are scanned, available. Get this online system going. The second day would be making sure that the evidence is properly stored. We would find a place, I would locate it and make sure that they are in the proper place to be stored and not lost and not wind up in somebody's trash can or the dump. Day three would be that I would make sure that my staff immediately gets some training on how to assist the public when they come in there. That they would understand that we are public servants and this is a business. It's public service. Treat them with kindness. Victims are coming in there to try to find out. Treat them with kindness. Make them feel welcome. Family members are coming in there to try to get documents for their loved ones that's trying to meet a deadline. So that would be my one, locate wherever those documents are, make sure that they properly preserved. Day two, find out where the evidence is at being stored. Get that up to make sure that none of this stuff ever happened again that has happened in the past. And number three would be that we would go through immediate training that we are public service. It would be like when I go to Rouse's, good morning.
Yes.
How can I help you other than that look that they give you, that you just disturbed their peace? And then number four, we just would do the job. Do the job. Our job is to be the custodian of the records and make sure that this elections that's coming up in 2 weeks, that we ready to tackle it.
Well, that's a big one that is immediate. And if you have a different viewpoint from mine, please share it. But I don't see how we can have early voting start on May 2nd, continue for the length of early voting period, have an election on May 16th and not have the voters of Orleans Parish trust and respect the process if the person that they chose to be the chief elections officer isn't in charge of that election. Almost every day on this radio station, I say something about voting, registering to vote, participating in the democracy. And I hope people will vote and participate. But it does not seem right. And it doesn't seem fair. And it doesn't seem that we can trust a process that is not being overseen by the chief elections officer that Orleans Parish chose. You were elected as a Democrat.
Yes.
There are multiple races coming up for this election season. Democrat and Republican. Closed primaries for the first time in a long time. In the competitive Republican U.S. Senate campaign, for those who are Republican and those who want to vote Republican, I don't know how you can trust that process if your chief elections official that you selected isn't in charge. Can we trust the process?
Well, this what I would hope that happened. I would hope that because our representative was, they adequately told that to express that yesterday, and was trying to appeal to, the human side because the Republicans they saying they want fair elections, and it was actually yesterday they was trying to explain that to them. But it fell on deaf ears. So what I would hope is that even if I didn't trust it, I still would go out and vote. Okay. I still would do it. I still would go out and cast my votes. I still would do it. I'm going to exercise the most fundamental right. It could be storming outside. A tornado could be coming. And if I got to get to that voting booth, I'm getting to that voting booth.
But why is that? Because there are a lot of people who hear this sort of thing, and they're like 68% of the people voted, so my vote doesn't matter. I'm not doing this anymore. Why would you continue knowing that this sort of thing is happening?
Because I know the value. Not just that people died for this. We have to participate in this democratic process. We got to go out and register people to vote. We got to convince them that no matter what, you still have to go vote. There's no, I don't know how to say it other than this is not just a civic duty. This is a requirement of life in this country. I don't know about other countries. This country, you got to exercise that fundamental right. And if that break down, then, what are we going to have? Yeah, there are going to be people out there always to try to discourage, like what they're doing right now, telling us your vote don't count. Well, I'm out there saying your vote do count. Go do it. Continue to go out and do it. And, but yeah, I want everybody to go. I want young people to get involved because I want parents to get involved. I want young people to get involved. I want us to start educating our families and our friends because I don't want them to get caught up into this criminal legal system that is so diabolical, that is grabbing our children and putting them in prison because they provide jobs. And the only way we could do that, only way we could protect our children and our families, our loved ones, and our neighbors from getting caught up into this legal system that seems to be very greedy and relying on human beings to provide jobs. only way we could do that is we got to participate in this democratic process. We got to go vote. We got to make sure that the right people are placed in office. And all this pettiness, we just got to put it aside. It's about our future. You know, and before my time is up, I want to thank everybody that actually participated on November the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
That 68.2% of the people that came out and voted. And I wish that they continue to go out and vote and keep on casting their vote, keep on educating people. You know, 'cause that was my promise. I promised them that what I was going to go in there and do. And I would like to say that whoever is in that position to do it, if you know, whoever the governor, the king favors, if he favors the civil district court clerk, make sure she do her job. Make sure of that. At least do that for me. If you don't, you do that make sure that she does that job. Give her the resource to do it. Because the criminal district court, that building is the most important building in this city. Why? Because we incarcerate more people than any place in the world. And they come from New Orleans. We have to make sure that what happened to me don't happen to nobody else, and what happened to other people don't happen to nobody else. They need the resource to function in that building. And I hope all those Republicans that supported this, make sure that this is done. Make sure. If you can't honor the citizens' vote in New Orleans, at least make sure that that building does not continue to function the way it has always been functioning. Give them the resource to do their damn job and do it well. Because if you want to say that our votes don't count, then you are responsible to make sure that it happens. And again, if she's favored, the civil district court clerk is favored by the people in authority, then make sure that now y'all are responsible to make sure that the job get done. Make sure that election that's coming up is done properly, where people can walk away with confidence that their vote does count. Make sure that documents are properly preserved, evidence is properly preserved, that, you know, wrongful convictions doesn't happen. And even when wrongful convictions does happen, that we'll have the courage to say, I'm not going to procedurally bar these cases just because it took so long for the defenders or the people to actually obtain this evidence. You know, have the courage to say it's our fault and that we're not going to benefit from keeping people, by keeping people in prison because they got the documents late. They analyzed the DNA evidence late. It wasn't their fault that we shouldn't be punished for that. And we should start taking a better look at our criminal legal system. And because they have taken this action, I hope that those Republicans that voted for it now to help be responsible and make sure that the job get done.
So a lot of people are very angry right now.
Rightfully so.
And I hear you. You're saying no matter what appears to be happening to you, and I'm going to say and us, you want them to participate and vote.
Please do.
But a lot of people are looking to you for leadership in that clerk's office. And as a advocate who has now become an elected politician, and they may not be sure what they should do. So maybe they say, I hear you, Mr. Duncan, I'm going to vote. What should I vote for? Who should I vote for? Because I want to send them a message that this is wrong. And since you're not on the ballot, what can I do as a registered Republican, as a registered Democrat, as a registered no party, as somebody who you want to see participate in the process, how can they best vote in a way that sends a message to the governor and the state legislature?
Well, first, whatever position a person is running for, they should be educated on what that position entails. What are the duties that you asking to fulfill? Know the position itself. Second of all, get to know the candidate that who's asking us and trust me to do this job. And you can't cast an intelligent vote if you don't know what the position that a person is running for, what it entails, and who that person is. So I would say for leadership, make sure you get to know the candidate. Mm-hmm. You have to make that decision on, is this person the type of person or the kind of person that will fulfill, that I can trust to do this job? As far as telling people how to vote, cast that intelligent vote. How you do that is get to know the candidate, not just the school that they went to, and that rhetoric that some of them, and we never get to know who that person. People got to know who I was. People got to know what the duties of that clerk office. Hold it, the people that's running for the office, hold them to that same standard, so that they could cast that intelligent vote. And the message would be, I'm not taking this fundamental right for granted anymore. I'm going to hold y'all to the fire. Well, I want to know who you are, and I want to know what position that you're running for, so we'll know that you know what your duties are. And then they can actually cast an intelligent vote. And then that message that we would be sending to people is that we're going to continue to vote. We're going to continue to educate ourselves, and we're going to continue to encourage other people to go out and vote, and we're going to continue to register other people. We're going to make sure that we participate in this democratic process, because what we're seeing right now.
So one of the things that was remarkable about 2025 is the date, March 29th. We had constitutional ballot measures, and they all went down. We have 5 constitutional ballot measures on the ballot. This is not Orleans Parish specific. This is statewide for everybody who chooses to vote yea or nay on 1, on 2, on 3, on 4, on 5. They can't vote for you. They can't vote against abolishing the office. If they were to vote for nothing else, no candidate, but to vote on the constitutional amendments and say no, what would you think?
If, again, first, somebody need to educate us about all of those amendments. And if they came from the governor, if those amendments are from the government, if I had to vote, they would be no. I would send a message to the governor that I don't appreciate what you did. And you could talk that democratic stuff and just talk it, but I believe it. And what you did was wrong. You disregarded the will of the people. So that would be my message. I would, if those amendments came from the governor, all of them would be no. I would vote no to each one of them to let him know you don't believe in this democratic process because you disregarded the people that came out and voted. You disregarded it. And so that would be my message to the governor. My message to the governor is that until you start really believing in this democratic process for everybody, every amendment every constitutional amendments you send to the citizens of this state, it would be no. Calvin.
And if that were to happen, that would mean the state legislature would have to go back and take a look at each of those things they were trying to get done and renegotiate, discuss, debate how they might go about that. That might provide an opportunity for voters, advocates, to weigh in on each and every one of those things, but also for people in Orleans Parish and outside of Orleans Parish to say, this is wrong.
It's wrong. Totally wrong. And if voting down constitutional amendments that comes out of that legislature, that's part of the democratic process. And that's how we send messages to our leaders, that we don't agree to what you're doing. We go out and we vote. And that is a clear message. And hopefully our governor would reflect on, oh, they sending me a message and I hear it loud and clear. That from this day forward, as the governor, I'm going to honor everybody's right to participate in this democratic process, which is include honoring people in New Orleans' right to choose their elected officials.
I'm Will Sutton. I'm here with Eddie Francis. We're in conversation with criminal court clerk-elect Calvin Duncan. The voters of Orleans Parish saw to it with 68.2% of the vote that he should be the next chief records officer, the next chief elections officer, and the voters who cast their ballots want to see him take office on May 4th. Your Louisiana state legislature wants to abolish the office and see that that does not happen. But we're in conversation with Calvin Duncan about how we got to where we are and looking at the election with early voting starting on May 2nd and election day on May 16th. There's the talk line, Eddie. Mm-hmm. We're happy to be in conversation with Mr. Duncan, but we can take some calls. What's that talk line number?
504-582-9422, 504-582-9422.
This is WBOK 1230 AM. And Jared, do we have to take a break? Nope. Okay, great,
Oh,
great.
okay.
Whoa, that's good news. All right. So one of the things about abolishing the office, as I understand it, is that they're saying this will save money. I don't believe I'm an expert on fiscal notes, but the fiscal note that was added this week seems to indicate that it will cost money. Why would you implement something that will cost money, even on a temporary transition basis, if your idea is to save money by abolishing the office?
And they're saying it would produce efficiency.
Yes.
Yeah.
For who? Not the people that's going to be exposed to that chaos. Efficiency for who? They talk as if New Orleans do not contribute money to this state. Lots of revenues are created here. But they talk as if we are that burden to the government, So efficiency for who? Mm-hmm. But they could constantly just process people through this to legal system that's going to be in total chaos.
It feels like efficiency is a buzzword that was thrown in.
Yeah, that's and I saw something where they said it was going to say what, $27,000. I'm like, I'll give you $27,000
Yeah.
a year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do it for free. Take the whole thing and just say, look, Calvin, you don't get a salary. I do it for free.
All right, we got a caller. Good morning, Reverend Calhoun. You're on with Will Sutton, Eddie Francis, and, of course, clerk-elect Calvin Duncan. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to all you gentlemen. This
Morning.
never was about money. This is about taking over control of this city to put people in. this administration wants to do as they please. My concern or my question is, Calvin, as we look going forward, because if they can do this now to an elected official, a person elected by the will of the people, and that they can come in now and make legislative laws to eliminate those positions after the election, because maybe they don't like who was elected or whatever the reason may be. You're saying the only way to fight right now, and I know we got the legal process to go through, but how do we really need to come together to fight for New Orleans? Because this is not just an attack on that office. This is an attack on New Orleans, period, to take it down and to say that they're going to control it. On last night at the TEP Center, we had some candidates, some judicial candidates come, and Ms. Bernard actually broke down those amendments. None of those amendments mean us any good, period. But anyway, I'm listening now, and is there going to be some type of meeting, something coming together to speak to how New Orleans needs to unite as one to speak against taking away our right to have an elected official? Because that's how I see it. All right, I'll hang up and
All right, Lord's blessings, Reverend Calhoun. Have a blessed day.
So what we can do is make sure that every citizen or every person that could vote in this city register to vote. And we could vote. Another thing that we could do is contact people in other parishes and get them to make sure that their community is registered to vote and go out and vote. And if we do that, and people that is upset and angry at what happened in other parishes, whether they Democrat or Republican, they could do the same thing and make sure that everybody is registered, that can vote, is registered, and to go out and vote. And then we can also try to eliminate all of the barriers that prevents us from voting. Like, I got friends in Baton Rouge. I got friends in Caddo. We could spread it. We don't, I got family members here that I'm trying to, make sure that all of them register. We could do our job. We could register people to vote, and we could make sure that they go out and vote.
Okay.
And yeah.
Oh, good. We got another call. Good morning, Ben. You're on with Will Sutton, Eddie Francis, and Clerk-elect Calvin Duncan.
Yeah, hey guys. Hey, I just wanted to point out is that no one asked the people of Orleans Parish before they voted if they wanted two clerks of a court. Now, to say that Mr. Duncan was elected because the people wanted him is kind of misleading, because no one asked them if they wanted to only go with one clerk. I'm sure if a vote would have gone through to ask if the citizens of Orleans wanted to go with one clerk instead of two, you may have gotten a very different answer. Because, as everyone knows, the other parishes only have one clerk for both civil and for criminal court. The other advice I would give to Mr. Duncan, if he's looking for some, is just run for another office. You obviously have a lot of people following you now, and you've got a lot of, free ad time on the local news. Why not just run for a different office when something opens up?
All right, Ben. Lord's blessings. Have a great day. Of course, what was on the ballot is what the voters had to vote on.
Right.
So you're suggesting that something would be on a ballot that wasn't before the voters. So just as with these constitutional amendments, that's what's on the ballot. So,
and furthermore, people did decide hundreds of years ago, during a constitutional convention, and people did vote years ago, probably before you was born and I was born,
absolutely,
that we wanted New Orleans to have two clerks. That's the first question. The answer to the first question. Somebody did decide way long time ago, before we was even born, before I was born. The answer to your second question, I wanted to be a clerk to make sure that what happened to me don't happen to nobody else. My vision was not to be, running for office until I get one. And even if I took that attitude, what's going to stop the king from saying, Calvin, you ain't going to get that position either?
Right. That's what I was about to say.
So,
right.
So to answer your question, somebody had decided years ago that people said we wanted New Orleans with 2. Yeah. And to answer your question, no, I wanted to be the clerk to make sure that what happened to me and happened to other people never happened to anybody else. And even if I did ran for another office, what's going to stop, I'm going to refer him to as the king from saying, Calvin, I don't want you with that position either.
Okay, we got another call. Good morning, T-Bone. You're on with Will Sutton, Eddie Francis, and clerk-elect Calvin Duncan. Calvin? T-Bone. You're okay.
Yeah, keep it moving.
All right. Good morning, Aaron. You're on Will Sutton, Eddie Francis, and clerk-elect Calvin Duncan.
Good morning. How y'all doing? Y'all already know. First, shouts out to the Fatherhood Roundtable as well as the Hippie New Gun Club. That clown Ben, who is originally Mike from Metairie and Kendall or wherever, don't listen to that fool. He doesn't mean this city no good. This is like the same powers that we constantly fight against. Let me say this here. People often hear me get on here and say that, these local politicians, that if they was out here for the people would definitely stand up and fight for them. So, Brother Calvin, let me tell you something, bro. You is definitely for the people. And guess what? Any act that you want to do, beyond here, count the Hippie New Gun Club as well as the Fatherhood Roundtable marching and stepping behind your back. You think? Because it's not so much that it's you, but it's your vision that you had for the office that you was elected for. These people that we fight against, they don't want to see us win. By you being able to fathom the thought, and not just being able to fathom the thought, but by you actually going through it and knowing the system from the inside, they don't want that because, again, in this state, the state have a contract and a treaty with these private prisons saying that if the prisons is not 80% full, we can sue y'all, meaning the state. The private prisons can sue the state if the state is not 80% occupied. And that's what we fight against. So, my brother, I'm going to tell you again, when you're ready for us, but matter of fact, you ain't got to call us. We come and look for you because we're going to show you what type of power that we really have because there's more power in the people than people in power. Y'all have a nice day. I'm going to see you soon, my brother.
All right. Lord's blessings. Thanks, Aaron. All right. We got another caller. Ms. Jones, you're on with Will Sutton, Eddie Francis, and clerk-elect Calvin Duncan.
Yes, good morning, and really to Calvin Duncan. Wow, I don't know what to say. It's just so much corruption. You know the corrupt ways of what they've done and what they plan to do. A lot of people wouldn't know. And this is the reason they don't want you in addition to taking over New Orleans because of all of the money. I could say more, but I'd like to be in touch with you somehow because we know some of the same people who went through criminal court and served time for something that they didn't do 50 years and 25 years. And they don't want anybody who knows. I urge the people to really consider registering to vote. You go to the Jazz Fest, you went to the French Quarter Festival, all of this. Rename your priorities. But this is what it's about. They want to enslave more people by incarcerating, accidentally on purpose, losing records.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Ms.
Lord's
Jones.
blessings. Have a great day, Ms. Jones. Appreciate that. All right. So we got to wrap up the Good Morning Show. Thank you so much for coming. Assuming that this goes through the Senate and it's on to the governor and this office is abolished, will there be a legal challenge from you or others? What's your hope and desire or plan?
I'm still trying to determine what options I do have. This is unprecedented. We hadn't seen this since Reconstruction. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I'm gonna do this weekend is see what did they do during Reconstruction time. Mm-hmm. And I think we have broken the record. And I think that was the goal, to break Reconstruction record. Because back then, when blacks was elected, they did something similar. They got rid of those seats. They got rid of those elected officials. So I got to determine what are my options. I don't know at this. It happened so long ago. I thought we was beyond that.
All right, one last question. If this is abolished and these courts are merged, do you have any interest in working with the merged court in one role or another?
I would work with anybody that's going to make sure what happened to me don't happen to nobody else.
All right. Very good. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us on the Good Morning Show. Thank you for a wonderful week of Good Morning Show editions across Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We made it to Friday, Eddie.
Yep, sure did.
All right. We're going to get out of here and make room for the front porch with Kimba and Graylin. And don't forget, after that, we'll have Tavis Smiley. And, of course, this afternoon, we'll have the G-Man with the reality check.
Actually, me. I'm sitting in for the G-Man.
You're sitting in?
Yeah,
Well,
I'll be back here.
Update.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be sleeping out there. Yep.
Eddie Francis this afternoon for reality check. And, of course, you heard Mr. Duncan. Make sure that you exercise your right to vote. Take heed to the things that he shared. You want to send a message, consider what he said, and you can play this back and share it with all your friends and family. We're checking out on the Good Morning Show. This is WBOK, 12:30 a.m. What New Orleans is talking.